Hi, I'm George from NBA Hockey,
And I'm Sam. I run PS Power Hour on a bunch of different social media platforms.
and welcome to Triple Shift. It's kind of another weird episode. We couldn't get everybody together. If you guys also didn't see on Instagram, we posted a an update that we're no longer going to be posting every Wednesday after this week, and instead we're just going to be kind of posting whenever we're able to get together and whenever there's enough news to talk about. So don't expect weekly uploads. You guys can go read that post for more information, but just so you guys know that
Yeah.
we won't be updating every week because we can't all get together all the time. So thanks for
Quality over quantity.
yeah, exactly. But thanks to Sam for coming and helping bail us out this week. So that's cool.
It's the 2021 New York Islanders in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Over quantity.
exactly.
Well, except for last night.
Well, yeah. But we'll get into that.
That was
Yeah, it seems like the train kind of just got derailed by the end.
Yep.
But first of all, let's discuss the four teams that lost in the second round. Honestly, I can't remember if we talked about Winnipeg in the last episode because it was like 2 weeks ago. So we'll talk about the Jets anyway.
Yeah. The Jets have 10% of their cap for the next 3 years invested in a 34-year-old Blake Wheeler who's coming off a season where he just declined horrendously. And when we're looking at the Jets, that's going to be it's going to hamstring their roster construction, especially when you have also 7% of your cap going to a goaltender who's probably the best in the league, but
Still.
still a goaltender.
There's also 7.7% to Josh Morrissey, who's not very good.
8.8% to Kyle Connor.
Yeah, we can just kind of keep going down the list here, honestly. The Jets were a team that I think are kind of past their cup window with this roster.
We could say that their cup window was definitely that 2018 year.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think the biggest thing that they should do this offseason, and they probably won't, is trade Kyle Connor. Because I think his value is stupidly high at the moment.
I mean, his value probably is, but if I'm a general manager, I am not sniffing a trade for 5 years of $7 million of Kyle Connor. I'm not trading for that.
Oh, of course, I wouldn't either.
There will be GMs around the league that are probably going to bite on that. But given that the Winnipeg Jets are the team that signed him to that contract, I think that they'd be one of those teams that would bite on Kyle Connor.
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that they would be interested in trading him. And I'm not 100%... Like, you could probably get something good for him.
Oh, yeah. Like, at least a first and a prospect, I think, at least.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can get a first and a prospect. You could probably get a first and, like, a lower-level prospect.
Yeah, I mean... What did he have? He had, like, 70 points, like, 2 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a big year a couple years ago.
Yeah, I feel like people still, like... Yeah, I mean, he had a good offensive year this year, too. So I think...
I mean, yeah, he's always going to put up the numbers in the offensive zone. I mean, yeah, he had 50 points in 56 games this year.
He's basically your, like, budget Patrick Kane. Like, that's who Kyle Connor is. So, I mean, if you could pair him with, like, a really good defensive center and, like, a playmaking winger, like, you'd be fine. But the Jets don't have either of those. Well, I guess Wheeler's kind of a playmaking winger, but he's not,
And not anymore.
Yeah, and they don't have the defensive center at all on that first line.
They really don't. And good. I'm very glad that they were able to get rid of Patrick Laine, but is Dubois really that much of an upgrade at this point?
He really disappointed me this year. I thought he'd be better. I expected a lot more.
Yeah, and from the sake of what you saw in Columbus and the guy forcing his way out, you obviously are expecting more. Guy basically says he's being limited by his system, and yet comes to Winnipeg.
It doesn't do anything.
Broke him, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Stastny is one of their big free agents. I think he's probably gone, which sucks for them because Paul Stastny's really good.
Yeah, he's a solid player for them.
And, I mean, Neil Pionk's a free agent. Are you at RFA? Cops and RFA. Yeah.
Pionk's probably their best defenseman. By the way, that was a great trade for them.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my God.
But again, I feel like they kind of lucked into that trade being so great.
Yeah, Pionka didn't really break out until his first year in Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like they
their, their expectations weren't super high for him. Comes in and he's damn good.
yeah, and Truba's looked awful, so good for them.
Yeah, win for them in that deal.
Yeah, Andrew Kopp also a big RFA. I think there's a good chance that Kopp ends up in Seattle at this point, just because they haven't got a deal done. And I mean, I really like Andrew Kopp. He showed flashes of being a really good offensive player this year too, when he was elevated into the top six. So
I do think that Andrew Kopp has some good potential as a middle six forward for them, for somebody.
Yeah, especially I think even a team like, I mean, he'll get interest anywhere, but Seattle especially, he'll be kind of given that top six ish role a lot faster, just because their team probably won't have the star power right out the gate.
Yeah.
So
Seattle is. I don't think Seattle is going to be like Vegas.
No.
I don't think they're going to be anything remotely close to what Vegas was, because I mean, Vegas was perfect storm immediately.
Oh yeah, I mean Vegas didn't think they were going to be what Vegas was. So
Seattle is going to be. I don't know if they're going to be a bottom feeder, but they're. I would not expect them to really. They could be like in the playoff hunt.
I mean, they're in the Pacific, and the Pacific's awful, so it wouldn't surprise me.
They could be in the playoff hunt, but I would be surprised if they are like a legitimately good team in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to see that because it would be really cool. But again, there's going to be. I don't know how they're going to handle the expansion draft, because Vegas did a lot of maneuvering around. I'm not sure how much they're going to do, but I'm very fascinated to see it for sure.
See, it's interesting for me because everybody was talking about how like GMs aren't going to fall for the same trap that Vegas did, where they're just going to trade really good young players for Vegas to eat salary, and then the flat cap happened. So I wonder how much that'll affect teams going into the expansion draft, where they might almost be forced to give up good young players in order to shed salary because they don't have a choice. And it
should also be interesting to see what goaltender Seattle ends up with.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, there's good free agent goaltenders too, on the market. So.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously Winnipeg doesn't have a problem with their goaltender situation, but not having a problem with your goaltender situation is like, in a way, a problem because you're investing so much cap into such volatility.
Yeah. But I mean, everybody that believes paying goaltender is good is finally getting rewarded with Carey Price playing the way he is. But it took 8 years. Right. So.
Yeah, but then we take a look at some of though Hellbuck is not like one of the 3 or 4. I don't think he's one of the 3 or 4 highest paid goaltenders in the league.
No, I don't think so. And his contract's not very long either. Like, I'm fine with paying a goalie. Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
I want to see who pays him after that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably be Winnipeg because the NHL, but
yeah, it'll probably be 7 years.
Yeah, like I'm okay with the deal. Like it was 5 times 6, I think, for his. Yeah, like that's totally that's cool. But just don't get tied into 7 years.
But 5 is still a long time for a goaltender.
Yeah, but he's got 2 years after next year. Even if he drops off, it's not going to be it's not going to be the reason that holds the Jets back. Although he is their most important player, but this team has a lot of other cap issues.
Yeah, they do, and that is going to hamstring them for the future. I would not be opposed to them just blowing it up.
Yeah, and they could, because I think even there'd be probably less interest, but I think there'd still be a bit of interest in Blake Wheeler at retained salary.
Yeah, but he does have a no movement clause.
That's true, yeah. But I mean, maybe going. I was going to say Boston, but I don't think Boston is stupid enough to take on that contract.
Especially just Krejci's contract is just expiring.
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna want to get into another one with an older guy.
So I
do wonder though, if you do decide to blow it up, is Nikolai Ehlers here to stay?
That's a good question. I mean, because there was a lot of trade rumors around Ehlers 2 years ago. He seemed to be the odd guy out, and then they moved Laine because Laine had all of his issues. Yeah. So I don't know.
$6 million for 4 years. He does not have a no trade or a no move. He's 25 years old. There would be interest.
And I feel like he'd be undervalued on the market.
Oh, absolutely, because he's a phenomenal player.
Fucking great.
He's definitely their best skater.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I would be interested to see what he fetches if they decide to move him.
Yeah.
I do think that it would not be maybe not in their best interests to move him, but depending on what they could get, they should definitely test the waters because I think that they should. I think they got to blow it up.
See, I don't know if they have to blow it up completely. I think they need to move one of those forwards.
Think about it, though. They don't have a 4, a 6, or a 7 this year.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how high. Like, they're probably not going to be picking like that high. If like they're going to be a mediocre team if they don't do anything.
Yeah.
And they won't be picking very high. Although I am interested to see what happens with Cole Perfetti.
That's the thing, yeah. I think like there's a chance he plays next year. And I think that could mitigate a lot of the loss that they're going to lose from Stastny as kind of a third line center. And I mean, I think Pierre-Luc Dubois is a big question mark for this team too, because obviously like he still has another year left, and he's somebody, yeah, like he's still really young. Like so I don't think they're just gonna let him go. I think they're gonna bank on him. Like they'll give him another season.
And again, they only have 4 defensemen under contract for next year.
Yeah, which I mean is maybe a good thing for the Jets because their blue line's awful. Unfortunately, one of those defensemen they have to re-sign is Neil Pionk, who obviously is arguably their best defenseman. So
he probably is their best defenseman. I would say
it'd be either him or DeMello for me. I could see an argument for either of them.
And Pionk being 3 years younger.
Yeah, that's fair.
More valuable.
Yeah, he's probably the most valuable defenseman they have.
Yeah, I would say that without a doubt.
Yeah.
He's about to turn 26 next month, so he's older than I thought. For some reason, I thought he was like 23, 24.
Yeah, I guess because he didn't break in to the Rangers roster until he was like 23, I think. So that's probably, and even then he didn't play a whole lot.
I do really want to see what the Jets do this year because I'm not super like again, this is not a particularly great hockey team. And they have tons of weaknesses, and there's 2 ways that they do have they're going to have like what 20 million in cap.
Yeah.
They could try to go after some stuff to shore up what they got, but I think they have too many holes.
And I think like at least 7 or 8 of that goes to Kopp and Pionk, at least.
And
so
again, this team has too many holes compared to some other teams that we're going to talk about that really don't have that many holes.
Yeah.
The next 3 that really don't have holes. Well, you could argue the Bruins' depth scoring is a hole, which definitely is. But in the playoffs it is. In a regular season, it's not.
Yeah. And just as an overall roster, I mean, the Bruins' top-end talent is better. So,
obviously.
Yeah.
But they also, and we could use that as a segue, the Bruins, also they have their own goaltender situation. Tuukka Rask has said that he does want to return, but he is a UFA and he's 34 years old. And with the emergence of Jeremy Swayman, how much does Rask fetch? How much does he even play if we do, or I would say when the Boston Bruins bring him back? How much
probably
would he then fetch? And how much would he play? It would be really fascinating to see, because I do think that they're going to want to transition him out of the starting role. Well, not like completely as a...
It's kind of like a 1A, 1B kind of thing.
Yeah.
With Swayman, yeah. I could see that.
Because Rask has been... I mean, I will defend Tuukka Rask to the day I die. The guy gets so much just undeserved hate for being the goaltender.
Yeah. Well, it's like anywhere, though.
For
That's the thing.
happening to be in net for some of the low moments of the franchise. And let's not forget that this is a guy who is, I believe, 6th all-time in postseason save percentage and is in the top and is near the top of postseason goals saved above expected. And people act like he's this choker because of literally 3 individual games.
Yeah.
Which the Bruins wouldn't have gotten to 2 of them without historic playoff runs by Rask. The Bruins have to bring back Rask. You can't not bring him back. And I think Halak at this point is
he's
not even in the picture.
I could see him retiring, honestly.
Yeah, I could see it too.
Yeah.
Brandon Carlo's an RFA. You got to bring him back.
I think Mike Riley's somebody I'd bring back too.
Oh yeah,
from Boston.
Charlie McAvoy's got 1 year left before he's an RFA again.
Yeah, and he's gonna get paid. Maybe.
Getting that he could get in that 9 million range.
Well, I mean, people don't see him as a top 10 defenseman, so
Well,
maybe not.
I think that, think about it though.
That's incredible.
I
It's incredible.
like-
0 Norris votes. That's fucking insane.
I do think some people are starting to see him in that light. I mean, he to me is the best in the league, especially at 5-on-5.
Yeah, he's definitely in the top discussion for me.
I mean, for me, it's him and Dougie Hamilton are the two best.
Yeah.
And Makar is right up there as well.
Yeah, those would be my top 3. I don't know if I'd have them in that exact order, but I mean, I could see an argument for any of those 3. Honestly,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that bringing back and Matt Grzelcyk has been really good for them, and I love the contract that Grzelcyk is on for the next 3 seasons at just 3.7, and he's probably a $5 or $6 million player being paid less than $4 million.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty
Right.
much this entire roster, though. It's like everybody's
Yeah.
on good contracts, except for obviously the
Bergeron
Krejci deal, but that's done this year anyway.
That's
So
done.
yeah.
That's done. And Craig Smith's contract is great. Coyle, though, I was a little bit disappointed by Charlie Coyle this season. He does have the modified no trade and no move clauses, and he's got 5 years left at 5.
yeah, it's a lot.
That's definitely the worst contract that the Bruins have.
Yeah,
Not even particularly close.
and it sucks that they're just getting off the Krejci deal too, and leading into that one.
Yeah. Taylor Hall, I think the Bruins are going to bring back Taylor Hall.
I think so too. I think he takes a good team-friendly deal too.
Yeah, he's spoken about how he wants to return to Boston.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal down the stretch. From the time that the Bruins acquired him to the postseason, the Bruins were first in expected goals for percentage in the entire league. He was an instant spark plug. I think that if the Bruins pay Andre Kasha 1 cent, I will riot. Because that would be 1 more cent than Golden scored for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, I don't mind Kasha. I don't think he's a bad player. He just doesn't fit with this team. Yeah.
He's not even a player. Doesn't even exist.
Yeah. He's still somebody interesting. I think could be an interesting like gamble kind of toss, kind of like an Alexander Wenberg was this offseason kind of player. But
Kasha? Yeah, absolutely. Or like a Josh Anderson as well.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I just don't see Boston being the team that brings back. I could see them bring back Krejci though for another year.
I wouldn't. I'm not bringing back Kasha.
Yeah.
For the Bruins. I am trying to. I mean, he's an RFA.
Yeah, so you could even move his like rights.
Move his rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who would want to take his rights. The Ducks could bring him back.
Yeah. I mean, maybe even a team like Seattle for draft protection or something. Like
Yeah, that'd be
I don't think that would be a terrible. Kind of like what
Yeah.
Florida did with Smith and Marsh. So to a lesser extent, but
If Andre Kasha turns into Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault, I do wonder if the Bruins do bring back Krejci because I mean he's a lifetime Bruin.
yeah, and I mean he fit well in that second line. Like if they're bringing back Hall, like I wouldn't be opposed to it. Just not for
I
like $5
actually
mil.
think that the Bruins probably should bring back David Krejci. He's super familiar with the system. He's beloved in Boston, and he's not a bad player. He just isn't.
This isn't worth his money, yeah.
Dollars. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to $3 million for the next 1 or 2 years.
Oh yeah, that could be, and then he kind of transition even into that third line center by the end of that. And
But then then Charlie Coyle, who
well, yeah.
who was disappointed, he'd become the second.
Well, that's a whole other issue, yeah.
Although Curtis Lazar was an interesting pickup. He's got 1 year left. I do want to see more strides from Carson Kuhlman next year. Like I feel like he's always all around. He's always all over the place. He's definitely got something in him.
Yeah, I mean, the Bruins have a lot of like interesting younger players in general.
The Bruins' young talent is like fringe, like bottom 6
Yeah.
caliber. Like, but it's definitely like it's very interesting to see like, oh, what's gonna happen with Vakanainen? What's gonna happen with Studnicka, with Senshin, those guys. I'm definitely fascinated to see how this plays out. And Beecher, if from Michigan, I want to see how his progression plays out because I think he's been doing pretty well at Michigan.
I think so too. Mind you, Michigan in general is just kind of a black hole for like individual talent. I don't read much out of Michigan just because of how elite that program is. But yeah, I mean, he's looked fine from like the very little that I've seen of him. But again, he's playing with like three first round.
He looked better than Owen Power. I turned on Owen Power tape for like 3 minutes and like he fell on his back and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, he's gonna look great as a Buffalo Sabre next year, though. I'll tell you.
He's already submitted his trade request.
Yeah. It's really funny that the Sabres actually aren't going to trade that pick. Like I mean, obviously they wouldn't, but they also came out and said that they like this draft more than like any other team in the NHL. So that's funny.
Yeah. When it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, another team that doesn't really have too many holes on their roster. Teravainen was disappointing this year. Svechnikov's an RFA.
Yeah. I feel like everybody on Carolina kind of had a down year, though.
Really, they kind of did. But then, I mean, the big thing is obviously Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
He's a UFA, and
I still think he resigns.
I think that that's probably the best option for him.
Or Toronto. Or Toronto, of course, right? But
yep, Steve Dangle originally wanted him in the draft, so I guess.
Yeah. He's another pajama boy Leafs fan, so why not?
Yeah, but like we look at this team, and Slavin's 27, Dougie Hamilton's 28, Teravainen's 26, Niederreiter's 28, obviously Aho's 23, and Svechnikov's 21. But like, this is when these guys should be starting their this is like their window. This is their window right now.
Yeah.
We need to find a way for the Carolina Hurricanes to have some semblance of consistent goaltending, and that came with Alex Nedeljkovic this year.
Who was on waivers at the beginning of the season, by the way.
Yeah, but then again, he was on waivers at the beginning of the season.
So
that kind of shows something that maybe he's not really that good of a goaltender.
Yeah, I mean, goalies are so inconsistently weird
this year, but I still can't trust him down the road. Mrazek, another guy that has just been so like weirdly good and bad at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good 13 games this season, but
really, like the best 13 games of anyone.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. They're such a strange roster.
Yeah.
If they lose Hamilton, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, because they would have. I mean, Brady Shea is on $5 million
Oh, God.
3 years on a modified no trade clause.
That was an awful trade.
Yeah, that was just really bad.
Like, even if you look at their division, though, I mean, the Devils are starting to kind of turn the corner, I think. The Islanders are still going to be the Islanders. The Rangers are coming up. I mean, Philly's still, like, who knows what Philly is.
Are they, though?
I mean, Pittsburgh and Washington, who knows what they'll be.
What I said about Philly last year at the beginning of the season was they are either entering their window or they are closing their window.
Yeah. But I mean, they make the playoffs every other year, so it's their time next year to make the playoffs.
And like it all really depended on how Carter Hart would develop, and he didn't even develop.
Like realistically, if the Hurricanes lose Dougie Hamilton, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish sixth in that division.
Sixth?
I really wouldn't.
That would really be something.
Because I think the Islanders, Rangers, Flyers, Penguins, and Capitals could all be better than them next year without Dougie Hamilton. I could realistically see that.
I am low on the Capitals again at this point.
They're always a good regular season team, though.
Yeah, but they overperformed a lot this year.
Oh, they did, absolutely.
And I'm just not sure how much they're gonna hold up. I was low on them last year. I think I had them finishing 5th or 6th in the division.
Yeah, that division's gonna kind of be because I mean Columbus could be like if Columbus gets a good package for Seth Jones, like hell they could be a playoff team.
That could really be a key.
Like I really don't like care if Carolina loses Hamilton. I don't know if I'd have them. Like I could see an argument for them not being a playoff team next year. I really could because I don't think.
I could see an argument, but I would still they still do have Brenda Moore, who's.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. He won the Jack Adams Award, however fraudulent the voting for it may be.
Yeah.
But I Adams. Like
Yeah.
I do see what you're getting at, but again, I might just be higher on guys like Svechnikov and Teravainen than you are.
I mean, I love Sveshy, but like, I just need to see them not have a down year next year.
I don't think they're gonna have their down year next year.
That's fair.
If they because they had a down year this year and they were still pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, the team was still like, I mean, they won the division, so.
I mean, for an example of how high I am on a guy like Svechnikov, I had him. He was my prediction to tie for the Rocket Richard this year. And then the Colorado Avalanche, who are a Death Star.
Yeah, but they just can't get out of the second round.
This team has 3 draft picks this year. I don't really care about that fact. They don't need draft picks.
Yeah, no, this team's. I mean, it's not going to get much better than it is realistically.
Landeskog is a free agent. Tyson Jost is an RFA.
Yeah, but Landeskog's he's gonna take a pay cut.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They don't have goaltenders under contract.
Which, I mean, might not be a bad thing. There's enough goaltending, like, there's enough in free agency this year.
What they are is a better version of, like, the best version of the Hurricanes.
I'd be interested to see if Colorado can move Kadri if Paul Stastny comes back to the Avalanche.
That would be interesting to see with that.
Because, like, he'd be the perfect second line, like, third line-ish center for this team.
Yeah, and again, this team, a second line center on most teams, the fourth line center on the Avalanche.
Yeah.
That's how deep they are. When you look at what this team has, they have pretty much everything. They have no weaknesses except for goaltending, which is a weakness for everyone because you can never predict it. What holes can you fill on a team? Like, you can't really fill holes. You just have to bring everything back.
Yeah, and just, I mean, that's the real saying is, like, you know, be a top 5-6 team in the league and then just hope you get lucky. And
yeah,
Colorado had their 4 worst games of the season in a span of 2 weeks.
Lightning all over again, where we're looking at a team that literally has everything, and they just can't get it done. But the Lightning then broke through and got it done. That's my thing that I was saying about Toronto as well. Toronto, they don't have weaknesses. It takes a village to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And being goal lead 2 years in a row is what's happened to the Leafs, and being Vegas now, which is a term
Apparently, yeah.
I'm creating because Vegas is, I mean, again, 2 of the 3 best constructed teams in hockey play in the same division.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you're playing with, like, playoffs or within the division, it sucks because that could easily have been the Stanley Cup final.
Probably. I mean, to me, those were the 2 best teams in hockey. Them and the Lightning are the 3 best teams in hockey without a doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And we might get an Islanders Canadiens Cup final. So there you go.
What are you gonna get?
Oh God, I mean, what do you? If he were to hit the open market, he'd get like 10 plus. I think
If he were to hit the open market at age 22 with the amount of respect that he has around the league,
he might get a bigger deal than McDavid, honestly.
He might get $15 million.
But I don't know. I mean, 8.5 would be what I'd come in at.
Well, let's see. How much cap do they have? They have
25
million in projected cap.
They have to sign Landeskog. I think Saad's probably gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Landeskog I could see signing for like 6 or 7.
I would try to move Graves, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Eric Johnson said he'd waive his no move for the Seattle draft, but I don't know if Seattle, like, that does anything.
Yeah, I would see if I could move Ryan Graves.
Yeah.
Like, he's a solid player, but like.
They have other young guys coming up anyway. Like Byron and Timmins can kind of fill that spot anyway.
The cap flexibility. I know it's only $3 million, but they're deep defensively anyway.
Yeah.
And I would want the cap flexibility because, again, I mean, next year you have some more free agents.
Yeah. I mean, Donskoy is somebody else they could look at moving, like 3.9.
Yeah.
I think he's fairly replaceable.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, Kadri obviously is a name.
Branson, by the way, I was a little bit lower on him coming into the season.
Oh, God, he was great.
Obviously, a phenomenal player, and he was
so good this year.
He was so good. He was unbelievably good, and justifies the 11% of the cap that he's taking up.
Yeah. It sucks that he didn't take, like, I just wish he would have taken less.
But that's hockey.
No, I know. I understand that. But
like, I do think now, if I'm Sakic, I'm trying, like, if I can get Cale Makar for, like, I want to lock him up as long as possible.
yeah, I think
Because if he signs anything shorter than like 3 years, anything shorter than 4 years, he's going to get $12 million on his next contract.
Yeah. The thing that the concern I have with Makar though is that I think the longer the term goes, the more money he's going to want. So it really depends on where Sakic sees this window closed.
I would be willing to give him 8 years at $8.5-9 million.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The guy's 22. I'd be willing to pay him the Doughty contract.
I mean, if Makar wants to sign 8 years at like $8 million, like absolutely, I'll do that. I just don't think that. I think he understands his value better than that. I think he's gonna want like a 3-year deal.
Like, he will, but like, I would be. Also, you're Joe Sakic. You can sell Cale Makar on signing a long-term extension because of what you've done with this team, how you built this team so well from the worst team in the league to the. Well, not technically not the best team in the league.
They're the best. I mean, they're on paper they're the best team in the league.
I would say that, yeah, but technically they're.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then
they just had, like I said, I think they just had like their 4 worst games of their season in the span of a week and a half, and they lost. Like that. It's unfortunate, but that's what happened.
That's what happened to the Leafs. That's what happened to.
It's funny, like the Leafs outplayed Montreal in every one of those games, though. Like I don't even know if I'd consider that their 4. Like they just got carry priced. Really?
Yeah, they were not the 4 worst games. They lost. They had a game earlier in the season. Well, I'd say Game 7 was just like.
Oh, Game 7 was awful. They played like trash. But I mean, that was kind of to be expected. I think Game 6 kind of ended that series, but.
Yeah, but like we take a look at. I would also say that something like didn't Toronto have like a couple like.
Toronto had like the 5-goal blown lead to Ottawa at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. They were like it was like 5-1 or something.
Yeah. They played to Ottawa. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it was 5-1. Basically, you just go to Steve Dangle and sort by the most viewed video and figure out what the most embarrassing losses of the season were.
That's true though. Like that's actually like legitimately how you get the facts.
Yep.
I guess we can transition into the third round now. Every game is I guess Tampa and the Islanders are 3-2. Montreal plays tonight.
Yep.
At the beginning of this season, I jokingly said Canadiens-Islanders final, just so everybody freaks out. But
if that actually happens,
I don't see the Islanders winning 2 in a row at this point.
I don't either, but
I can see them winning Game 6, but I don't know if they win.
I mean, yeah, at the old barn, they could definitely pull one out. I mean, they're gonna have the crowd behind them.
Yeah.
But then again, it's Tampa. And they just won a hockey game, 8-0.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it seems like this happens once every series for them.
Just that one massive blowout, like stomping game is
They did it to the Bruins last year. They did it to the Islanders last year. They did it to the Panthers, and that was a completely different game though. They got dominated in that game, but they won.
They won like 6. Yeah. I'm way more concerned about Vegas than I am Tampa right now.
Oh, absolutely. Because any concerns that anyone had about Tampa, I think that we can say that they were put to bed last night with one of the single most dominant performances of the entire season by anybody.
Yeah.
Like the Islanders were sure they had a nice third period where they had a whole bunch of chances. But like
the game was over already. Yeah, it did.
The game was over. By the end of the first period, it was like the Lightning had like 2.5 expected goals to a half.
Yeah.
Like the game was over. And so I'm not at all concerned. But Vegas, I might be concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I said a couple weeks ago that if Montreal could play Vegas instead of Colorado in the third round, I'd actually like have a lot of faith in them winning. And
Yeah,
it's a best of 3 now. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, and I do want to see. This is like again, this is where big time players have to step up and make themselves. This is where they have to make their mark.
yeah,
And again, that's where you got to see who's gonna step up for these guys. Who's gonna be the hero in this series? Because there's gonna be a hero. I just can't tell you who it's gonna be.
like does Mark Stone even have a point in this series yet?
Mark Stone.
I know he didn't have a point before Game 4. I don't know if he got one in Game 4 though. I don't think so. I know Pacioretty has 1 assist.
Either way, like that line has just like Stone, Pacioretty. They haven't really been what we.
That's been Montreal playoffs though. Like the Canadians have shut down the top line for every team
Stone
phenomenally.
Yeah, the thing with Stone is he has in his last 12 games he has 3 points.
Yeah.
And like he's not even like he only has 20 shots.
He doesn't even look like that
He doesn't
crazily
look-
engaged.
No, he doesn't. But this is where he's got to step up.
Oh yeah, this is by far the biggest like moment of his career, really.
By the way, in the 4 games directly before that, he had 5 points.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like I don't know how much of this is just Montreal. I mean, like Philip No's had a really good playoffs, and like that lines doesn't have any points, but they're shutting down lines. I mean, Matthews didn't have a goal. The top line for Winnipeg, although without Scheifele, didn't look great. Besides Kyle Connor, who actually had a really good playoffs. But now in Vegas, like the Pacioretty Stone line hasn't done anything.
Calgary line is 69% expected goals
Yeah.
percentage.
Like they've done what they had to do, and they haven't scored.
and-
But
Like again, the Pacioretty and Stone line, it's been terrible in this. It's just not been itself.
yeah.
This postseason. And
And again, they don't have Chandler Stevenson right now, but they had him for Colorado, and
they should be able to cope.
yeah, when you have that much talent, you should be able to. Yeah, absolutely.
They are the Vegas Golden Knights. They are one of the best. They are one of the 3 best constructed rosters in the National Hockey League. Them, the Colorado Avalanche,
And
the
Tampa
Tampa
Bay.
Bay Lightning. Those are the 3 best constructed rosters, and they have 2 goaltenders that they could choose from.
Yeah,
Um,
I was shocked they went to Leonard for Game 4. I mean, obviously Fleury like sold the bag at the end of Game 3, but like,
and you know what? It paid off.
yeah,
Because you get now Fleury gets rest if you want to throw him back out there, and if you don't, you now have another option.
yeah. I just like I don't know if like they can't go like if Leonard gets lit up tonight, and obviously like this episode's coming out tomorrow, so people will know. But hypothetically, if Leonard gets like if Montreal wins like 6-1 today, right? Like how can they go back
Montreal
to like
Montreal wins 6-1.
like how can they go back to Fleury for Game 6? Like you can't.
Well, if it's Fleury or if it's Leonard.
If Leonard plays tonight, he gets lit up, and he just plays terrible. I don't know how you can go back to Fleury.
Well, how can you not go back to Fleury?
I just feel like you kind of like you gave up on him here. He made a mistake, and you kind of were like, yeah, you're done.
But like you can't put Leonard out there after giving up.
No, I know.
Like
It would be such a, and I don't think it would happen. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think this game's gonna be close.
either
but-
way, I'm pretty sure it's Fleury tonight.
Is it?
Yeah, Money Puck says that it's confirmed.
What? Oh my god. Holy shit! I didn't see that. Wow. Okay. That's a strange decision. I don't know if I agree with that. Leonard played really good though last. Like, why?
Well, I mean,
What
it's
the hell?
you get him rest and you put him back out there. I like it.
Wow.
Like,
all right.
It's not a bad. It's like again, you put a guy out there that hasn't that they're lucky that they're lucky that they
I mean, they have two starting goalies. Like it's
two two starting goalies. They have probably two top 10 goalies.
yeah. Well, yeah, but that's just so like
They
wow.
they have two goalies that are like actually good at hockey.
Yo, yeah, no, like Rob Leonard's fantastic. Don't get me like so like Fleury was great. I mean, he should win the Vezina this year.
Yeah, probably.
I just don't know if like switch it. Like I get that they wanted to kind of give Fleury the game off after what he did, but
Yeah, and I like that. I really like that.
it's just I don't know. I need time to process that.
I mean, I maybe it's just like a little bit more, like maybe you just have a little bit of a harder time accepting it than I do, but like I just think that it makes sense to me. They have the luxury of being able to do this.
I guess it depends why they
wouldn't
went to
they do
Fleury, or why they went to Leonard in Game 4. If it was just to give Fleury the day off, then sure.
And again, like it's not like just to give Fleury the day off. It's saying give Fleury this time to reset, but we can still compete because we have this Robin Leonard who's a phenomenal goaltender in his own right.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that's probably and like if Leonard was if Leonard turned himself into prime Lundqvist, then obviously you don't go back to Fleury.
I mean, he played pretty good in Game 4.
He was good, but I mean, he was good. That's what he was.
Yeah.
He did his job.
All right. I guess I'm just overthinking. Yeah, you're right. I think I'm just kind of.
I think you're definitely overthinking it.
Yeah.
It's not as complicated as you're making it seem.
I'm trying to make it some big. I mean, I'm a media member. I'm trying to make it some big thing.
Yeah, I guess. But for Montreal, you obviously have Carey Price, and that's what the series is going to bank on again. Which players are going to step up?
Yeah.
Is it going to be who's it going to be on Vegas? Who's going to be on the Vegas end going to step up? Who's it going to be on the Montreal end that's going to step up? You can never know, because who could have predicted that it would have been Nathan Horton for the Bruins multiple times in the 2011 playoffs? Who could have predicted that it would have been you get my point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why depth is so important. I mean,
who could have predicted Kiviranta last year?
Yeah. I mean, Joel Armia is tied for the league or for the team leading goals for Montreal. So
I was not even able to pronounce Joel Kiviranta's name, and I was calling that game.
Yeah, that was incredible. Like
hat trick, Game 7 overtime winner.
Yeah.
Unreal. And they took the lead and then they tied it immediately.
Yeah.
That game was crazy. And then the game later that night was also amazing. Vegas and
oh yeah,
Vancouver.
Where Thatcher Demko is insane.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he might be one of those guys. He might be one of those guys, but
yeah, I mean, so
might not.
Right now, who are you taking to get to the Cup final?
I'm gonna be boring. It's gonna be the two favorites, the two teams that I had making the Cup final at the beginning of the season: Vegas and Tampa.
Who wins?
It's Tampa.
All right, I'm going.
I did have Vegas winning at the beginning of the season, but Tampa just, to me, win a playoff game 8-0, like that.
They're just steamrolling everybody.
Yeah, they were. I'm just thinking about this from the perspective of, this is the team that, like, as a Bruins fan, I'm glad this is the team that, like, over the years that has been like our kryptonite over the years. Obviously, we didn't lose them this year, but
yeah,
like, I'm glad that at least it was this team and
it's fair,
not
yeah.
like, and like not like the freaking Canadians or the Blue Jackets or
yeah, just somebody who's not very good.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it's the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I've always looked at it saying that 2019 team they wouldn't have beaten that Lightning team.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And that's why, like, I'm always so cautious about the cup windows for the Bruins. It's probably closed. And the East is getting the Eastern Conferences. The Lightning are not going anywhere.
Oh God, no.
Well, Victor Hedman is not himself, but Lightning aren't going anywhere. And to me, this is. I think that we see Vegas and Colorado become obviously the big rivalry in the West.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. They're gonna play every year
And
for the next
I
like
think that-
decade.
Well, maybe not the next decade. Vegas is a little bit older.
That's true, yeah. But
I think
at least the
that-
next 4 or 5 years, like.
I think that if Vegas, this is their every single one of these 4 teams, this is going to be your best chance to win a Stanley Cup. That is how hockey works.
Yeah.
You don't just get this chance. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
Look at the semifinals 2 years ago. Boston, Carolina, and then the West was St. Louis and the Sharks.
Yeah. I mean,
This doesn't come around.
No.
Hockey is so hard. I'd say that winning the Stanley Cup is probably it's definitely the hardest to win out of the 4 major sports because it's so random.
it is.
Anything can happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And that's why we love hockey. Because no matter how much analytics we use, it will always come down to something it's toss up in the air. You can win all the expected goals battles you want, but you tracked it this year. 65%? Right?
Something like that, yeah. It was around. I stopped by it
65%.
last month, but yeah, it was like 65-ish.
35% of games. And that 35%, that's a large enough sample that you could see maybe 3-4 of those happen in a row.
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
that's what happens. That's what happens in the playoffs. That's how hockey is. Again, it was like the whole Jonathan Quick thing when he was so great with the Kings. He was unbelievably hot in both those postseason runs. They couldn't lose. Tim Thomas, they couldn't lose because of how hot the goaltender was. And every year, like last year, Vasilevsky was unbelievable.
Oh god. Yeah, he was fantastic.
And Vasilevsky's doing the same thing this year.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. He's, 13 goals saved above expected in the playoffs this year?
Yeah, it's something crazy. I mean, him and Price are like
That's one of the
far and
reasons.
away the 2 best goalies in the playoffs this year.
No, Hellebuck was unbelievable when he was playing.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like with the goalies that are left, like of the
Yeah.
4.
Well, Varlamov looked great at times, and
Let's see.
then, well, I would think that at this point, the Islanders, they could win Game 6, but I don't see them winning this series. And as good as Carey Price is, I don't see the Canadians pulling it out because, again, I'm not going to say talent always wins because it doesn't, but
In 3 games, it's hard to not pick Vegas. If Montreal would have won yesterday, I'd take them to win the series for sure. I think they could win 1 out of 3.
If Montreal were up 3-1, it would be a no-brainer, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I don't know because I don't think they can. I don't think you can win 3. I don't think they're going to win 3 games in a row against Montreal.
No.
I think this is going to 7.
I think so too. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I mean, it's because like Price could have 2 unreal games, and then it's just that's it.
But so could Fleury,
It's true.
and so could
So could anybody. Jake Allen could go into the game and have back-to-back shutouts. Like who knows?
Jake Allen, better than Jordan Binnington.
Yeah. So it's tough. I'll take. I'm gonna be the one just to be crazy, and I'll take the Islanders and Canadians to still win, like I did at the beginning of the series, because it's hockey and
And who wins the cup?
so, Montreal. Montreal's run feels really special right now.
It does. It really does.
It
Have
really,
something.
and it's not like
Because-
Dallas last year, because everybody talked about how this team looks like Dallas, but like Dallas, like I never felt
doesn't
that
look
Dallas was gonna win the cup. I
No,
felt like they got
Dallas-
lucky.
Dallas to me was a team that, like, they weren't even like that hot.
No,
They seemed like they lucked into everything.
this kind of feels like Tampa Bay last year. Like not in talent, but just in the way that they were like they just felt like you just felt like they were gonna win.
No,
I don't know, like
That's what Tampa feels like.
that's fair, but like I don't know, like
I'd say Montreal feels.
maybe St. Louis.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say more like St. Louis, where you can definitely see them winning the cup, but it would take a lot.
Yeah, Tampa Bay was a bit of a stretch.
Have in common? What do those 2 teams have in common?
Really good playoff goaltending from a mediocre
Jake
goalie.
Allen.
Oh yeah, and Joel Edmondson actually.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, we can get out of here. So where can they find you?
on TikTok. That is probably my main platform right now. Almost at 6,000 followers, actually. I think we're at 5,600 something.
That's crazy.
PS Power Hour. You can find me at the same place, PS Power Hour on Instagram, PS Power Hour on Twitch. However, I'm not sure how many streams we're going to be able to get out. Power Hour Sam on Twitter. That is probably my most active platform. And although I will say, a warning, it's content from a lot of different sports. I'll say that much. It's a lot of football, baseball, and you got hockey and basketball in there. But I'd say that if you want sports content and if you want entertainment value, you listen to the cast and you follow PS Power Hour.
Yeah, and you guys can find me at NBA Hockey on Instagram, where we talk about hockey, and Nothing But Iron 1 on Twitter.
Very creative.
So
Very creative.
yeah,
Talk about hockey.
exactly.
And I would like to thank Sid the Sloth for getting me on today.
No problem. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Like I said at the beginning, there might not be an episode next Wednesday, but there will be still new episodes after this. They just won't be every
I
week.
guarantee you that there will be some
Yeah.
sort of content from the Triple Shift podcast about the Stanley Cup Final.
Oh, absolutely. No, 100%. Or we just won't talk about it at all. Because why not?
Won't talk about it at all. Go completely radio silent. And
Who cares? It's not a big deal anyway. This season's fake. It doesn't matter.
totally not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's an asterisk season. Only 56 games were played. The divisions are all screwed up. The
Yeah.
North Division the North Division is so Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, we might have two Eastern Conference teams in the Cup final. It's nonsense. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. Maybe.